Okay, so I am making a video, and here's my face. I'm sorry this is going to sound, you're going to hear really bad crackling, but the crackle. Hey. Sorry, I've been wanting to make a video where I actually show my face. I really have, but I don't know what's wrong with this camera. The mic that came with it just doesn't work well. I've tested it many times and it just doesn't do its job. It doesn't work well. So I'm sorry. I do want to make a video where I actually show my face, but there's nothing I can do. So anyway, this is kind of an urgent video that I'm making you know, I've made videos in the past, not that many, but I've talked about my anxiety, and it's really serious. My anxiety, it's really hard for me to interact with people. I mean, just painfully difficult. I can't do it. I get really nervous, I feel like I need to throw up. My breathing gets more shallow, I guess. I don't know. It's just hard to breathe. And it's really hard for me to make eye contact. I blush a lot. It's severe. I have a severe form of anxiety, and I can't just do any job. I can't just go out there and look for a job and say work in customer service or, you know, helping or interacting with the public, because it's just not going to work out. I've had jobs like that, and I was just miserable in them, and I didn't do a good job. So now I have, you know, a few jobs, and I can work, but the job that I have doesn't require me to really be attended to the public. But I do have to work with employees or other, you know, fellow co-workers, and it's really difficult because there's nothing I can do to just, I mean, all I do basically is I do my job, but while I'm doing my job, I'm just trying to avoid interaction as much as I can. And it's very difficult because when you're quiet, when you're, you know, when you're just quiet and you don't really talk much and don't really make much eye contact, people are just kind of intrigued by that, I guess, and they kind of want to get to know you better. But anyways, I'm just talking about anxiety because tonight something really bad happened. At work, I've been noticing one of my coworkers just doesn't like me. I can tell he just doesn't like me from the beginning. And he's kind of been harassing me, but in a very subtle way. He's been doing sort of practical jokes that are really kind of really gross and just not appropriate for work, and trying to intimidate me and trying to make me, I didn't realize this, but I have noticed this this kind of behavior, or this kind of these kind of events that I've noticed at work, or these kind of incidents that I've noticed at work, and I just kind of ignored them, just kind of brushed them off and brushed them aside, and thought, okay, well, they're going to go away soon, you know, because, they're just, the person will see that I'm not really like, gonna, you know, pay attention to them. Anyways, they've escalated to the point where I guess this person or people, this group of people, really wanted me gone. I've been harassed, not just at work, but I've noticed certain things happening in my house. Like my storm door is broken. And one time I walked out and one of my flowering pots was tipped and had a whole bunch of soil just on the floor. So I started getting kind of paranoid after that, but I was very just aptly looking at or paying attention to these signs, that these indications that this person's trying to really intimidate me, trying to, you know, get on my nerves. I mean, this person knows where I live. This person, and maybe it's more people. Maybe he's got a big connection, you know. So, sorry, hold on. I don't know, I feel like I'm hearing stuff, so I'm just gonna walk. No, it's just person that I'm living with, but yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into the whole story, but basically this person doesn't like me because I'm very avoidant. I have avoidant personality disorder, and you know, I think I give this guy a dirty look, but you know, not intentionally. And ever since that, he's just hated me, and he's wanted to sort of get even. And so today, when I got back from, like I said, this person knows where I live, or these people. And so when I got back from work, and I pulled up to my driveway, I had my flashlight on, and I was looking at my car because I noticed that people had been keying my car or scratching my car. And then I noticed, and then I heard gunshots, six or seven successive gunshots, very close to my street, very, very close to where I live, like maybe just a couple blocks, or maybe not even that far. It was very close. So I just dashed to the door. I opened it, and I just got in. I called the police, and I let them know. And then also, there's this car just driving back and forth 3 times, just driving, speeding through my, street. And I live in a quiet, somewhat dark street. I have my porch light on, but it's quiet. And yeah, I knew it was just targeted at me to threaten me. And so basically, yes, I'm not going back to work. I'm not going back to that work because, yeah, I got the message. And what I want to say is that anxiety is dangerous in the sense of it's not just a diagnosis that you get at, that the psychiatrist gives you, or whatever some other doctor gives you. And then you get some treatment like pills and maybe some cognitive behavioral therapy. No, it's much more. I mean, I have general anxiety and social anxiety, and it rubs people the wrong way. I've mentioned this in another video where I said that people need to feel, they have this sense of entitlement that they need to feel acknowledged, and that you need to acknowledge them, and that you need to talk to them and make them feel special. That's the kind of society that we live in, and if you don't do that for other people, if you don't make them feel special some way when you're interacting with them on a social level, then they won't like you. And I've had many people not like me, and many people act just nasty towards me because I'm just so scared to talk to them that I just avoid them, and they resent me for it. But in the back of my head, I always knew that one of these days I was just going to encounter the wrong person, the wrong person at the wrong time, and this person was going to have problems of their own, and maybe even a big ego and light and thin skin, and they're just going to take out their frustrations on you. And that could mean by who knows what, including killing you. So now this has just made me a lot more paranoid, and I'm terrified right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep. I've had to take a beta blocker, which is a medication that lowers your blood pressure, so that I can make this video. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep much. I didn't even get much sleep last night because I've had issues sleeping the past few months due to another issue, disorder that I have. Anyways, Yeah, just very real stuff. I mean, there's a lot of shit that goes in the world. There's a lot of evil in the world, and a lot of, just fucked up stuff that happens. And that's why I've made the videos in the past of, antinatalism and ephilism. Yeah, I'm never going to change my stance. My views are, yeah, you don't have children. It's it's insensible. It's illogical, irrational. It's cruel. You're putting kids. You're producing. When you choose to have a kid, or you're putting them into a world full of perils. We're very fragile creatures. We can die of so many horrible ways. There's illness, there's infections, and even if you don't, and beyond that, there's a lot of people who are just going to have to tolerate or endure a horrible existence. They're going to be born with a deformity or all kinds of issues. Name them. I mean, there's a whole list. I don't have to really name anything because I think people are pretty aware of all the horrible things that happen to people, even by chance, So yeah, the world is very dangerous, and that's why I make these videos. And I haven't made any in a while mainly because I've been wanting to make a video where I actually show my face. Hoping that would actually increase my views. Even though I know I'm not really the best looking person. I'm not very confident about the way I look, but I think, people would appreciate that more instead of just sort of looking at the wall, while they're listening to me. But, I mean, I'm sorry, my mic doesn't work, and there's nothing I can do. Right now I don't have money. Now I'm not going back to that job, so I've had to look for another job, and that can take a while. In the meantime, I have debt that I have to pay, and economists are now saying that we are headed for a recession. So they're almost certain of it. That's just horrible. See what I mean about danger, how life is dangerous? I mean, I don't understand how there's people that object to this philosophy, to this view. It's a sane view. It's sensible. It's describing reality for what it is. We are sentient creatures. We are sentient beings, and we have vulnerabilities, and we're in a world full of destruction and disasters, and people that are just out to get you. Or sometimes shit happens to people by accident. And yes, I've touched up on ephilism because I'm very strong about this. I mean, I don't see all the beauty in nature. I mean, the only beauty that I see is in the fact that animals are sentient just like us, and that they have needs just like us. But I don't see nature as like this wonderful place that we should be looking at in an exemplary mode. Like we should be striving to be more like the animals, or people just fantasize and romanticize these views of living out in nature, and nature is dangerous. Nature, there's all these viruses, all these pathogens everywhere that are becoming ever more resistant to treatment, to like treatment like antibiotics and stuff. I mean, this is a world that people are bringing their children into. A world full of all these hostilities and all these uncertainties, and in a world where there are predictions about the future, and the predictions look really, really they're disturbing. There's climate change, there's resistance, pathogen resistance to treatment. There's economic crises. There's problems with democracies collapsing, civilization possibly even collapsing, because it's all sort of a house of cards. If one thing goes wrong, or if a few things go wrong, then it can all come tumbling down. Um, and and of course, we live in a world in a world with finite resources, and we're just wasting them. The people who live in the rich countries, we're just wasting them. I mean, the amount of waste that's produced that I notice just where I work is I can't even fathom it. I'm looking at it and I'm just like, holy shit! Like, we use stuff for one time and we just throw it in the ground. For what? To be incinerated, pollute the environment, or just to end up in our oceans or in a third world country where they're gonna, have to deal with how to manage all this waste. I mean, I could just go on, and my heart really breaks for the animals. It really does. I mean, really, I had a comment in my last video that said they wouldn't they don't support ethylism, or it didn't seem like it. They didn't say it like that verbatim, but they were saying they would rather just go to school than be eaten alive. That's a ridiculous comment to make. Context. Hello, like, if it really came down to it, you wouldn't choose that. You wouldn't choose to be eaten alive, because that's a horrific way to die. Just such a grisly way to die. You can't even imagine how painful that would be. So I am all for the destruction. Well, the word that Eminem uses is the sanitation of this world, of the planet. It needs to be sanitized. Something needs to be done. We can't, and I guess the plan is to start by people understanding what's going on this planet, and to stop having children. That we're not doing anything. We're not. You think people think they want to have children because they think they're going to achieve something. They think that it's a higher good, or it's something good that they're doing, but they're just following everybody else in society. That's it. They're just doing what everybody else is doing, and completely ignoring, for their own selfish purpose, because they want to compete. And yeah, I mean, you read about, or I hear about, like, the reasons that people have kids or children, and it's just like, what? In some parts of the world, women are forced to have children. If they don't, they're shunned, or they're dishonored, or they are, their family just wants nothing to do with them, or their friends. It's crazy. We don't need to keep propagating. We don't need to continue. We don't, this human project or whatever this life thing, this sentient life doesn't need to continue. It's really dangerous. People, please listen to what I'm saying. Please just think about it. Look at the world and really ponder what's going on. When you see something, when you hear something, don't just brush it aside. I mean, really think about it. What is this? Could this happen to me? That's another problem. Is people they think they're immune. They think that the problems, they're only going to deal with little problems, and they're not going to have to deal with any huge, tremendous, catastrophic problems. So please think about it. I don't know what's going to happen to me now. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, but I am going to post this video because I just think it's appropriate to post this video. I have a lot of thoughts in my mind, and there's other things that I want to touch on, but I'm just too confused and frustrated, and honestly, I'm terrified right now. So I really can't add to anything, or I can't really make a a good lucid set of arguments, or I don't want to talk right now. I just want to try to go to sleep. Hopefully I can go to sleep and just tomorrow it'll all be, gone. I don't know, but yeah, people just be safe, be cautious, and just understand that making more children is just going to make the problem even worse. Please spread the message, make videos, support the antinatalist movement, the F-list movement. This has to stop. There's just way too much suffering in the world. And people are just we live in really crazy, fucking erratic times. Please, please. Yeah, I probably forgot a ton of stuff that I wanted to say, but I can't say it all in one video, So, every waking moment of my life, I'm just worried about everything. Worried about the state of the world, worried about people, worried about myself, worried about other creatures out there living in the wild, being subjected to all kinds of horrors. I mean, this is hell. This is a living hell.